Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, The Real Super Sam. Today I'm reviewing another episode of Spider-Man the animated series and I hope you enjoy. Welcome to another hashtag Spider-Man Sundays, and today's another cartoon episode review. And this one is all about the Shocker. This episode has some of the most iconic parts in this three-parter and the show. This episode starts with Spider-Man swinging through the city, then he gets attacked for Jameson's reward, and for the first time it shows the suit defending Peter Parker when he can't defend himself. This here is another cool image from that when the suit is pulling him away from his back. He overcomes a sonic shotgun which surprisingly hurts him. So these guys are the ones who are attacking him, and they're just normal people who Spider-Man goes crazy yelling and attacking them. I, even as a kid, thought they were bad guys the way Spider-Man reacted. Afterwards, he goes to Jameson's office and tells him to call off the reward. It doesn't go so well. Then we see the Kingpin testing out Promethium X. A little scrape of it causes a nuclear explosion, but only if it's heated. I love the line when a thug says, "That chunk you have, it could destroy this whole planet." And the Kingpin turns around and says, "I only handle the best." Spider-Man then visits Dr. Connors who this is his first time meeting Connors after episode 1, the first time they met personally. He's hesitant at first but agrees to help study the symbiote. It all turns out to be a symbiote, which is what I just said. Soon it will take over Spider-Man's body. Spider-Man then leaves, ignoring Connors' response to take it off. Fortunately, after finding out the Rhino story was true, Jameson calls off his reward to capture him and fires Eddie Brock. After seeing this one on the news, the Kingpin concludes that he must find a way out of what Eddie Brock knows. Also, it may just be me, but the Kingpin has his best episode so far in this series here. Eddie Brock blames Spider-Man for his problems now. Spider-Man goes and finds the hidden pictures of Rhino in Eddie Brock's apartment. Just then, the Shocker shows up and interrogates Brock. Also, what happened to Eddie Brock's face right here? So Spider-Man shows up just to fight. Shocker here is an A-lister in the series and is never treated as a joke, which I love, and personally, maybe why this is my favorite Spider-Man series. And Spider-Man quickly gets beat by the Shocker. Wow, the Shocker was voiced by Jim Cummings. He has a creepy and cool voice here for the Shocker. He voices Hammerhead today in the 2017 Spider-Man show. But Spidey tracks him down and sees Smythe there. He takes the Promethium X and leaves. Spider-Man also dodges and ties up Alistair Smythe pretty easily, but then he just leaves, only caring about the Promethium X. The Shocker has a really cool looking costume in this episode. It's drawn so epically, there's tons of poster-worthy shots. To get the Promethium X back, Shocker kidnaps John Jameson from the hospital. JJJ calls out for Spider-Man's help and reluctantly agrees. Then the finale of this episode happens, which I'm going to describe every aspect of it. So when Spider-Man gives Alistair the Promethium X back, he gives JJ's son back. But then the Shocker comes out of nowhere pissing Spider-Man off. Then Shocker says a pun. He says a few here. Quote, "If you think that's a surprise, then you're in for a real shock." Spider-Man then turns murderous more than the Shocker in this fight. He responds, "And I'm gonna tear you limb from limb." And I love Shocker's response. It seems like he knows Spider-Man won't kill, and now he pictures himself as a villain and Spider-Man a hero. When Shocker even acts like he's in a comic and says, "Aw, I'm all shook up." Eddie Brock comes in during the fight, then he runs from Shocker. Also, even I have no idea why throwing a blanket over the Shocker was always something specific I remember in this fight. Shocker runs away from Spider-Man, where this iconic scene in the church stairwell, where Shocker's running for his life and Spider-Man just screams, "Shocker, come back here, Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll chase you till the ends of the earth!" He has Shocker, but Eddie Brock comes in and rushes both of them. Spider-Man, close to murdering him, ties him in a web cocoon and hangs him down below the clock tower bell. Also, I've always loved this scene happening in a bell tower at night, like at a church bell tower. In a way, Spider-Man ripping off his black costume is a way of repenting for all the wrong he's done in it. Spider-Man then breaks the Shocker's gauntlets. Then the Shocker's all like, You'll pay. The check's in the mail, baby. I love this. Spider-Man's lost in the black suit here. He's gone completely crazy. Shocker leaning over the edge looking at Spider-Man says that he can't kill him. He's the good guy. Then a shocking thing happens when Spider-Man says, "Am I?" Then he stops and has a flashback to Uncle Ben. But the symbiote pushes Shocker off the ledge for him. Shocker gets caught and dangles off the side. Spider-Man then questions and figures out for himself it was the black suit. He fights to pull it off, then sees that sound that hurts it. I love when the symbiote completely comes off and we see it look like Spider-Man a bit, like Peter's talking to his previous self. An interesting thing is that the symbiote blocked Peter's mind from figuring out the symbiote's weakness. Peter wins and the symbiote drips down right onto Eddie Brock. I love this episode, mostly because of the Shocker Spider-Man fight. It's probably my favorite Shocker episode of the series, and Shocker has such a cool costume and animation here. Eddie Brock being in the end fight doesn't seem that fluid in the story, but he had to become Venom. While watching this, Eddie Brock just kept showing up. He was my least favorite part of the battle. I wish Spider-Man just knocked him out. At the end, Kingpin finds out that the Prometheum X doesn't work anymore, because it only has a lifespan of about 3 days for the radioactive highlight. Now it's just lead. Now it's worthless. At the end, Kingpin swears vengeance upon Spider-Man. Now more than ever. This is one of the best episodes of a superhero show ever, one of the perfect ways to tell a superhero tale. This gets a 10 out of 10. We had the Kingpin, the big overall villain of the show, get thwarted by Spidey, some character exploring with J. Jonah Jameson, and a retrospective of Spider-Man and him fighting crime. This is a very unique episode because it is the only episode in which Spider-Man never wears his red and blue suit the whole time. Well, that ends another hashtag Spiderman Sundays. I hope you all enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.